and a very good warm welcome to you all, wherever you are across the globe, to Lockdown SK, the interactive self-isolation talk show, broadcasting to you from our micro streaming studio here on the beautiful island of Corfu in sunny Greece.
A very good
and should there be
warm welcome
an interruption
to you all,
this
wherever you are across the globe,
please
to
log on to our
Lockdown
website,
www.self-isolationtalkshow.com,
broadcasting to you
the
from
video
our micro
platform
streaming studio here on the
Vimeo.com,
beautiful island
or
of
else
Corfu.
YouTube,
and
a very good
and
should
now
there be warm welcome
Twitter,
to you all,
Periscope,
wherever
and
you
we're
are
also on
across the globe,
Instagram,
please
just
to
log on to our website,
all
of which are broadcasting superb quality
self-isolation.
and as always, I'm very lucky to join near the studio today by our producer, the lovely Claire Haas, who will be endeavouring to answer our Facebook comments and Skype. And of course, always a pleasure to broadcast superb to you, the one and only Thomas Haas. Hello, Thomas. How are you?
Hi, Adrian. I'm fine. I'm great. I'm happy. Hi, guys. Everybody out there. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for logging on. Again, we had a beautiful day at Hawaii. Got all of a sudden
20 degrees Celsius and one and only Thomas, trying to bring those rays of joy and happiness to you wherever you are. Because we're lucky to be experiencing them for ourselves, and we hope it's sunny and wherever you are too. One bit of breaking news I had just before I came on air, Thomas, was from one of our wonderful viewers and followers that we spoke to recently, Hayley, who you might have remember yesterday. She told us she was going to give up her job as a veterinary nurse and go along and try and help with the testing for COVID-19. Well, I'm pleased to report that I heard just before we came on air that she's got the job at the...
Okay, give me a second. Sorry. We had a bad echoing. I think I just got... I just eliminated that one.
Eliminated the bad echo. That's
yes, sorry, that's my mistake.
I do apologize.
So it should be fine now. So yeah, go ahead, say this again, please, just in case we don't.
Double speak. Hopefully we'll go mono now. I was just telling the lovely viewers and listeners about Hayley, Thomas. Heard before we came on air that she'd been accepted in the national, I think it is, COVID-19 laboratories in Cheshire. So she's going to be involved in testing for COVID-19 along with that other lovely viewer of ours in Bonnie, Scotland, Julie Camp. So well done to you, Hayley. And that's a great sacrifice and effort you're putting in on behalf of others. And it is efforts like you and Julie and all the other viewers who have given up their time to help fight against COVID-19 that makes me think, well, what about these people who are still in denial? I will always think of you laying your lives at risk for COVID-19.
Great. And I apologize for this echo at the beginning. We had an echoing voicing, but I forgot to switch one of the buttons off. So it's my fault. Sorry, hands up. But thank you for tuning in. Thanks for logging on again. So many of you, Vivian is logging on saying, hello from all of us here in Donegal. Looks like we are in lockdown for a further 2 weeks, but we will know more on Friday.
Great.
Phil Roberts is watching, Jokeman is watching, Matthias Baddock is watching, Lorraine Smith is watching, saying rain at last. The gardens need it. Pomp is still smiling.
Okay,
great, and
good.
we here still smiling too. It's a fantastic day.
We're always
it was
smiling
warm
here, aren't we, Thomas?
Of course, not
nearly
by a
always.
day like that, man.
Yes, good for your garden, Lorraine. Hope it's okay.
Steve Bowers is watching. Hello to you both. Back to normal here in Manchester. It's raining. Interesting to see what the Greek PM will say soon. See, we spoke about it a second ago, didn't we?
We did. That's a good question there because we're wondering the same ourselves. We didn't actually get to hear anything diddly squat last night, so maybe it's today, but we don't actually officially know unless you know more than we do, which you probably will.
Definitely. And then hello to Rita Van Diesel is watching. Julie Cam is watching. Lynn O'Hara is watching. Hi, guys. Jacqueline Connor is watching. Hi, nice to see you. Janet Logan is watching. Margaret Johnston is watching. And say hello from cold, wet Kent. So we got the sun here now. Now, this were a couple of days. This were a different story. Tom Giddings is watching. Angie Davenport is watching. Jay Nichols is watching. Hayley Griffiths is watching. Hello,
Hi,
Hayley. Nice to see you.
Congratulations.
And Lynn O'Hara is watching. Hello from a beautiful Benitez. Yes, of course, Benitez is beautiful.
Hello, Lynn. Yes, hope you're having a jolly afternoon. And Benitez is absolutely beautiful. It really is, isn't it?
Beautiful place.
You just reminded me of something. Hello, Margaret Johnson there in lovely Kent. You told us in a message yesterday that your daughter has made sure that your granddaughters have been doing all their schoolwork every morning during the lockdown. Very pleased to hear it, Margaret. You know, somehow I knew it would be the case.
Yeah, and more watching. It Paul Dew is watching with us. Jerry Jackie is watching. Hi, Paul is saying Yasu, guys. So Yasu to you.
Paul.
Winnie is watching. Hi, Winnie.
Hi, Vinny.
Sophia Moriarty is watching. James. Adam James is watching.
Hello, Adam.
Doris Element is watching. Gillian Bailey and Jim Maridassas is watching. Margaret Johnson said there is an echo. Yes, it's gone, hopefully. And I'm just checking. Yeah, it's gone. Yes, Margaret Jensen. Okay, now. Thank you. Christine Kelly is watching. Tom Giddings is saying, hi from Cold and Wet. Biddeford, hope all is safe. Yes, it's safe. Bars is still great
so
here,
far,
so
so
it's
good.
fantastic.
Thank you, Tom.
So
Yes.
far, so good.
Well, we're touching wood here. Can't we take too many chances of COVID-19, I'm afraid.
Paul Dew is watching. No echo now. Oh, I'm relieved. No, Velibot is watching. Nikos Louvos and Annabelle Louvos from London is watching.
Hi, Nico
so
and Annabelle.
great. Haley is saying, thank you. We will beat this. Nobody
Yes,
said
we
great
will,
one.
Haley. All of us together, and it's the perfect example of why we all need collaboration.
Yes, definitely. And here, Dennis Gettins is watching. Joanne Blakely is watching. Nikos is saying Kalisperasi, Olus. No, hi guys. Also, good evening to everybody. Army from Finland is watching.
Haiva Ilta Army. Hope you're well and happy. It's always great to hear from you, by the way. And just to make Nico and Annabelle happy in North London, I have some follow-up news from one of your favourite people that you affectionately called Tramp. So we will cheer you up today. Don't worry, there is news coming later on, because before that we have a very exciting phone call, an international call all the way from Guatemala in Central America. That'll be coming through very soon, and it is our dear friend Dr. Neville Stiles, who you may remember was on this program about 3 weeks ago, and he will be giving us the latest of what it's like in Guatemala City. How exotic, Thomas.
Yeah, I'm looking very, very much forward to this phone call. Gonna be great. Yes, Marcus Johnson is saying, well done, stay safe.
Thank you, Margaret.
So Amy is watching and saying, hello. Michelle is watching. Julie Skinner is watching. Lavinia is saying, well done, Haley. We have strong conditions with Leadington Hospital, where my husband was an SHO. So she loves the staff. They are great.
Yeah.
So Amy is saying, good evening from Grey, Finland. I think we must have nicked the sun or something. I don't know.
Borrowed it just for today. We were a little bit sunshine light the other day, so it's always nice. I have to say, though, folks, we won't get too excited because I don't think it's going to be sunny here as it is today, tomorrow. So maybe you'll have our sunshine tomorrow. Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe, yes.
So, but Angela is watching. I get a lot. Nick Fradis is watching. Robert Abel is watching. Prasta Begu is watching. Selico Child is watching. Oh, Jane Bakerly, hi from Jojo and Leon Jagger. Thanks,
Leon.
guys. So many coming in. Adam James, hello from the United Kingdom. And Jeffrey Backstage is saying hello from rainy Devon. Oh, guys, brilliant. So many locked on.
Shame Devon's raining, because Devon, you know, is a beautiful county. There's 2 viewers there we got from Devon. Hello, Jeffrey. Welcome aboard. And hello, Tom, there in beautiful Biddeford. Adam James, he's the guy that gave us the acronym ONION, if I do believe, as opposed to SAGE and ONION. Am I right, Adam, in thinking that ONION stood for obviously not important or necessary? Is that correct? Let me know.
Something in the message, yeah. But I think so far, man, that's a list, you know, starting the show every time like that. A nugget before we get going, man.
No, there's still life in you yet.
It's great, guys. It is fantastic. No, that's what cheers us up, and we at least can discuss a few things. Keeps us going, of course, keeps us going. And if you have something to say or you want to comment on anything we're going to talk about, don't hesitate. Just write it now on here in the comments, or go on Skype, or send us an email to inbox@StudioKerkyra.com. And we got a few things to tell about today, no?
We have indeed. But we've got this all-important international phone call from Guatemala coming up, which will be good. One bit of bad news I did catch earlier this morning, Thomas, about travel. This is from Norwegian Air Shuttle, a big airline that you may remember was grounded a few weeks ago, and they were in chronic financial trouble just a few weeks back. They are saying today that they reckon their entire fleet of aircraft will be grounded until 2021. Let us hope that is not a portent of things to come.
Yeah, because when we're looking, going in now, while we're talking first about the Greek side, the Greek news of the side. And when you're looking it's not what others then say with the air travel other countries to Greece. So we got a few news, local news here, Greek news here, but it's gonna be with other airlines the same thing. I mean, EasyJet allegedly said something they won't start weeks ago until 2021. Or what is Ryanair?
Yes,
one of these two.
EasyJet were flogging holidays centred on 2021, and EasyJet are the airline that their staff are furloughed to until definitely the end of May. We're unsure what happens after that at the moment.
Yeah.
But most airlines are grounded, or the majority of them are, and they're still discussing about this notion of health passports and certain certificates. You've got more on that later.
I got more on that before we go on seeing with Neville. But what interests me to Norwegian now, it's they can't withstand that until 2021. They have financial problems already.
Big trouble. So they will need bailouts. And I mean, if you may remember, Richard Branson, he of Virgin Atlantic, has gone cap in hand to the UK government to borrow 500 million, which he says is absolutely desperate for the survival of that airline. He owns 51% of Virgin. The other 49% is owned by Delta Airways of America. But Mr. Branson is prepared to put his house and island, Necker Island, in the beautiful British Virgin Islands, on the line as collateral for the British government. And to this minute, I still don't know whether he's had a reply, which is quite extraordinary because many governments around the world have indeed been bailing out their airlines. We heard only quite recently that over in the United States, they'd bailed out in that current round of extra COVID-19 funding over $20 billion. But to my knowledge so far, no money has been secured by British airlines. As it is for Europe, I don't know, but I do think the Germans have been propping up some of their tourist industry, which is just as well, because apparently, would you believe, the German tourist industry is worth a staggering 260 billion euros a year. It's extraordinary, isn't it?
That's extraordinary, yeah.
And just to put that into context, tourism is 50% of Europe's income, apparently, I do believe. I'll check that fact. Spain, which is the #1 destination in Europe, is the second most visited country in the whole of the world, would you believe? And their tourism industry is worth 100 billion euros a year.
Oh,
big figures here.
That's big figures. There we got big numbers from this side. But okay, how is it with easing restriction? We were talking about restriction. We go locally now, Greece, quickly. It's the restrictions is in a form now that all of a sudden yesterday the announcement came out, Greece, use of face masks mandatory in closed spaces. That's the headline we heard, and they say, okay, as what, on Monday or so yesterday, they spoke about that, and we hear nothing else. Then they said they're going to be a press conference from the Prime Minister, so the President of Greece.
That was
there were nothing saying. But there should be now mandatory face masks for closed spaces or small spaces. So how they define that, I don't know. I was reading through what they said, and I cannot get a date out when they sing. But it's a little bit of a, that wasn't on the cards before. Nobody spoke about it. It just came out of nowhere, of mandatory face masks in Greece.
True, except I would say that we have been hearing regularly every day now certain countries implementing or thinking about implementing face mask policy, including, I read this morning, the United Kingdom. They're discussing having supermarkets where it's mandatory, or would be, to wear face masks. On the subject of face masks, yesterday, Thomas, you gave us a quote for how much a box of 50 was in a local store here. Gone up to how much?
32 euros. So we have 32 euros just on face masks. Yeah.
Right, that was 32 euros for a box of 50 here in Greece. Right, well, how are you going to feel about when I tell you, Mr. Conte, ciao to all our lovely Italian friends, and we do hope you're surviving much better than you have been, and you're over the worst. We felt terribly for you because I know you suffered so badly as a country. But Mr. Conte, your Prime Minister, has said that no face mask in Italy should be costing more than 50 euro cents.
No face mask more,
no,
and that's
what he said
that's the thing, yeah. And
50
there are 50 cents. This would be all right.
That's right, isn't it? That's about a fair price. Not 30 euros for a box of 50. That is excessive profiteering, if you ask me.
Profiteering, I see, because before that whole thing, I saw the same box available for €8.98.
Exactly.
It's the same box, same manufacturer, and now the same thing. They're selling for 32 euros. That's what gets me.
That's too much.
I mean, you got good quality masks, then you have low quality ones. Okay, you understand, but you know what? That's not the best ones. but they just shot up in price. It's ridiculous.
Do you know, you just reminded me of that fabulous photograph you ran last week of that African gentleman wearing a face mask, which was a lettuce leaf. Then we had another one with a coconut, didn't we? Honestly, at that kind of price, 30 euros for a box of masks, yes, you would go out and find half a coconut or an orange. I think someone had an orange, which was rather good because that was a sneaky extra supply of vitamin C, I think.
Yeah, man, I got here a quick, but the Webster saying, I wonder who owns the companies here in Greece that will produce the face masks. Yeah,
That's a
me
good
too.
question,
I mean,
Patricia.
Lavinia just updating saying,
Good.
Mitsotakis is addressing the nation live now as we
Lavinia.
speak.
Thank
So,
you.
Winnie,
He must be
thank you
psychic.
very
He
much
must have
for
heard
that.
our vibes.
And Marlene Derrida is, hello from reigning Belgium. Stay safe. Thanks.
Bonjour,
Great.
everybody in Belgium. We are thinking of you too, because I know per capita you've suffered very hard in Europe from COVID-19, and all our good wishes are going to all the good people in Belgium.
And Julie Cam writing in, hi Julie, nice to see you. Scotland's First Minister Nicola Sturgeon is now recommending we should wear masks while in public and in enclosed spaces,
Right.
e.g.
Thank you,
shopping
Julie, for that.
and so
Yes.
things. So that's
It's
a good one. Yeah.
becoming almost standard now, isn't it? Face masks. I think that will be a condition of easing some of these lockdown restrictions.
Yeah, and two more about you is writing total COVID deaths now in hospitals reaches 19,301 reported from NHS England. Yeah. And regarding to Virgin, why we just spoke about that, he said Nikos Louvre is saying Branson has put Virgin up for sale a few days ago.
Thank you for telling me that, Nico. That bit of news had passed me by, but that doesn't surprise me because I think he's been trying to offload his stake for some time. I did hear a rumour some months back that he'd sold out to a French outfit, but obviously that fell through. Thank you, Nico. Do let me know how that goes.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna talk, before we carry on with the rest, we're gonna talk with Guatemala. We're gonna try and phone Neville, Dr. Neville Stiles MBE, and see what update he can give us.
And PhD.
So I'm trying to dial him now, so let's see what's gonna happen.
We wait with bated breath.
Hello there.
I think we got Neville on. Hi, Neville, Dr. Neville Stiles MBE. Hi, thanks for joining us again live from Guatemala. Can you hear us well?
Good to see you, Tom.
Nice to see you. So, I guess you're not at home today, are you?
You're a little bit broken up this end. I'm not quite sure why, but maybe it's, I don't think it's my signal, but anyway, maybe it's the distance. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you perfectly.
Yeah, you can hear me okay, yeah?
Yes, very well, very good.
Good, okay, excellent. Well, I think I sent you, and you may have had a chance to see the update on the figures here in Guatemala. Yeah,
yes.
For the COVID. Yeah. Did you manage to see those?
Yes, I saw those, and I can get them up on screen now. Let me get them up on screen, and so we can see that. So there's the updated figures now from you from Guatemala. Yes, here I got it.
Yeah, there they are. And you know, you and your viewers, and by the way, hello to all your viewers there in Greece. You'll be able to see that the total cases are 530 as of yesterday evening. There's always an element of doubt as to whether that's completely exact or not. Some people doubt that it's the true figure and that it could well be a lot more than that. But at the moment, that's the official figure, 530. You know, as you'll see that there are more men than women, 337 are men and 193 are women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So anyway, but to brighten things up, I decided to wear my Christmas tie for you all today because I thought we're almost halfway through the year, and it won't be long before we're talking about Christmas.
Yeah. What do you think? I mean, the situation is the lockdown still as harsh, the restrictions in Guatemala.
Yes, we've still got another week of everybody staying in usually. However, having said that, I've been back at work in my job for over a week now. And, we're taking all the precautions that the World Health Organization tells us to take. Everything from taking the temperature to putting your shoes in special cleaning liquid and things like that. No food. We work from 7:30 to 1:30, so that means that we're here pretty much with no diet as such, except water and things like yogurt and that type of thing. All the liquids. Yeah.
So you are now at the moment what in your office at the Olympic Committee or?
Yeah, I'm here at my office, and I'm on the third floor, out of the way from where everybody comes in and out. And when I leave with my mask on, as you can see, we've all got our masks, and that is obligatory to wear. I think I mentioned it when I spoke last time, but there are serious fines if you don't wear a mask.
Yeah.
Particularly if you're found to have the virus. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe.
But no, so the country in itself is moving along steadily, and we hope in a few weeks at least we'll start to come out of it. We're already looking at the guidelines from the World Health Organization to see how we can implement at least some of the more individual, games and athletes and so forth. Things like tennis and boxing, that type of thing, and archery. You can sort of pretty much keep people at a reasonable distance. But anyway, we're still working on that yet, and we're working through the guidelines given to us. Yeah. Having said that, Nicaragua had a boxing match yesterday, and I think it was the only boxing match in the world. Because they take a totally different stand on this, and they officially have very, very few cases. Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
But Neville, another question now regarding Guatemala. How is it, or what do you think gonna happen with your tourism?
Well, at the moment, all the major hotels are closed. Many of them have at least suspended their staff, and we're not sure really when all that's going to open up. One of the biggest times of the year has just gone by, which was Easter.
Yeah.
And that would have brought in thousands and thousands of people, and it's worth quite a few millions of dollars to the country. So that's come and gone without anything happening. Everything was closed. The beaches were closed. The places where people would normally go as tourists are closed. The hotels are shut down, and there's no news so far as to when that's going to reopen. We go week by week waiting for the news to emerge. But it is a big problem because tourism, yes, is one of the high spots on high things of Guatemala, and it's the thing that helps bring in a lot of the the income economically and the taxes and so forth, and also of course coffee. Coffee exports and things like that is another strong area. Yeah.
So yeah, but the impact here by us is, like it looks like in July we can open for tourism. I mean, do you think the same is to say for Guatemala, or would it take longer?
I think it will take perhaps longer than that. Yes, I'm not too sure that it'll be that quick. Hopefully it would, but at the present time it doesn't look like that. They're talking now of the possibility of taxing anyone who earns over £1,500, more or less, taking away 20% of their salary if you're in the public sector, and giving that to the antivirus effort, which is not perhaps going to go down too well, but that's one of the laws that they're considering putting through Congress here. Yeah. But
so do the work in Guatemala getting help then? Sorry.
Well, people are surviving as best they can, and we don't have the benefits like in the USA or the UK of a government that can come and give out money. The most the government has been able to give, apart from, of course, trying to do its best at the medical side, is to give a box of food and so forth to the poorer people. About 200,000 of the poorest people. They've been taking boxes of food, to them. But of course, once the box has been finished, I don't think there's another one after that.
Yeah, so it is Guatemala is in a worse position than we are here.
It is really. I mean, we have advantages in some ways, but yeah, we're not. I mean, we're like a lot of countries. Guatemala is not unique. We're like a lot of countries that you don't hear of on the BBC or other news channels, and you find that you can, you sort of get a lack of information about what's happening in our countries. And I think there are a lot of countries in the same situation as ours, not doing very well, and particularly in Africa and places like that. And we can easily forget about all those. People in the UK are worried about where their next income is coming from, and the government will probably give it to them. But in Guatemala, you just have to survive the best you can, and there's no two ways about it.
No, I believe that's
talking about something positive then. So I put this Christmas tie on to encourage people to take advantage of their free time right now and start making the Christmas decorations and so forth. Because when it gets to Christmas, you won't want to complain that you don't have enough time.
Yeah, that's a good one. So, what your personal feeling now? So you think we're not going to open up until Christmas?
Well, no, I'm sure we'll open up before that. Hopefully we will. It'd be awful if we don't. But no, I think, I think things hopefully by perhaps July, August might start to really turn around, and we might get a lot more movement. But of course, in the process, many people have lost their jobs. Many people don't have an income, or their business has collapsed. And here in Guatemala, there'll definitely be no help for that. We have a boost, of course, here in the use of technology, like most other countries. What we're doing right now through things like Zoom can be multiplied thousands and thousands of times.
Yeah.
And just in the past 2 or 3 weeks, we've had quite a few meetings on Zoom. It goes well at covering two hands or fingers, and everyone's starting to use that. But it can get boring eventually because you can find too much screen work and technology, especially if you're receiving a course or whatever, can actually get a bit tiring when you're not face to face with the people.
I believe so. So it's a different time. So life is changing as we know it, and hopefully it's gonna change to a better way. Hopefully we take this opportunity.
Yes. What is happening at the moment in Greece? Is it
in Greece at the moment? Yes, we got the restrictions. How they start to easing the restrictions. We allow
Mother's Day, which is on the 10th of May here. Obviously, the sales are going to be completely down from what they normally are. The restaurants are going to be empty. And the funniest thing is that having been off for about a month at home, we're now told that we got the day off for Labor Day on the 1st of May. So it's good news.
It's good news. No, pass is still the restrictions, so nobody is allowed to move. Like Easter Sunday, Easter Monday, we weren't allowed to use the cars at all.
Yeah, and I think, Tom, one of the things that is interesting about the whole situation is that it's given us a chance to have a look and see how governments perform and how our ministries and so forth work, whether they can actually come up to the challenge. And I think in many cases we've seen that there are a lot of weaknesses, not just in the planning, but in the quality of people we have leading these countries. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
that's a
today
good one.
it sort of pulled the curtain on what's behind the screen. Yeah. And we've been
Yeah,
able to see that it's not a perfect world, and we have a lot to do with perhaps our education and with all sorts of different things, preparing for events that we assumed would never happen, I suppose. And nobody wants
and
to
that's
spend money on events that are not going to happen. But we haven't done, and now we're stuck with this difficult situation. Even down to
definitely.
things like lack of masks and things like that, it becomes very difficult. And on the other hand, I think it's woken up people's creativity. I think people have been able to be a little bit more creative.
Yeah,
And hopefully, this will spark things in the economies around the world and make people realize that they don't have to travel to a country to be able to do a negotiation. Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
the way of the internet is showing itself now, huh?
Yeah, it's actually. I mean, there are a lot of interesting and good things that have come out of this. It's not all negative, even though we might want to see it as negative. But there's so much that is positive, helping us to change and make us realize some of the silly things that we were doing. I mean, why for the last 10 years or more, with all this technology, with Skype and everything else, have we been worried about going to a meeting, traveling, a day to get there? For 1 day meeting and then come back again. The
Totally,
expense
totally right.
of it,
Yeah.
I mean, it's lovely to travel, but in a way, it's not necessary, is it?
No, and this is also for the environmental impact at the same time. So you
That's
help the
right.
environment with doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
So I think it's what people getting used to it. They were
yeah,
scared from this technology, not knowing if it's safe enough for from using it, and now they are forced more or less to do it. So I think it's a good
yeah,
step in the evolution of the internet. Yeah,
yeah.
communication.
That's right. I think it is. Yes, I think it's woken everybody up to the potentials of the internet and technology. You know.
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
how's Adrian there? He's very quiet.
Adrian
Oh,
is
good
here.
afternoon,
Is
Neville.
next here.
Hello, how are you, sir?
Good to hear you, Adrian. How are you? And see you, of
Yes,
course.
I'm very well. Polycalar being in sunny Corfu, Neville.
Oh,
It's
wonderful,
always
wonderful.
great to talk to you, Neville. But the thing that I was rather hanging out to hear is, if you can remember, you ran a wonderful analogy a couple of years ago about how we
Yeah,
could look at time passing.
yes.
Do you remember what it was you said?
I honestly can't remember now.
I
Gosh,
think it was something. What is a billion worth?
what?
What is a billion worth? How much is a billion?
Ah,
There was something you put together. Now nowadays, 1, 2, 3, 4,
yeah.
5 billion is not a lot financially
Well,
speaking.
yeah, it's not. No, definitely not. Yeah. I mean, we talk in billions normally, and if you talk in millions, you're probably quite poor.
So yeah, that's true. That's a
Very
good
good
one.
point.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I mean,
Neville, you mentioned
the,
earlier on
so,
about the shoes. So in Guatemala, then, when you've been out and about and you come back, you have to take your shoes off and leave them in a sort of chemical bath. Is that right?
well, no. I mean, perhaps some people do that, but we don't do that. Downstairs in our building, yes, when we come in, we have a whole set of protocols. The first thing is you have to have your badge to show whether you're really an employee of the building.
Oh, right.
And
There we are. Yes.
after that, you have to then put each of your shoes, I mean, with your foot in it, of course, uh,
I always have my foot in it somewhere along the
into,
line, Neville.
into, into a tray which contains probably Johnny Walker whiskey or something like that.
What a waste.
Okay,
Well,
guys.
there are better than the red label, of course.
Oh, well, absolutely. Yes, of course. Yes.
And then after that, once you've taken that out, you wipe your feet on a special cloth, And then from there
Oh.
you go through a screen to make sure that you've got no weapons on you. And then
Right.
you have your temperature taken, and they tell
Really?
you whether it's below or up. And luckily enough, mine is always at the right temperature.
Great.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be let in, probably. I'd be told to go home.
And self-isolate, maybe.
And supposedly, people over 60 are not supposed to be working. And I always say, well, I'm only 12. I'll let you calculate my age after that.
Don't quite. I wasn't very good at maths, Neville, so I don't get that one.
Oh, good. I wasn't either.
Crap.
Okay.
Neither is Pretty Patel, mind you.
Oh, right. Yes. But at least
Unbelievable that was, Neville. You reminded me when you said about unveiling the mask of the politicians, you know.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think it's revealed so much about who we all are and how really weak we are. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
the need there is for everybody to come together and work for a common good, and not to be everybody just doing their own thing without any responsibility for anybody else. Yeah.
Totally
So I
right,
think,
Neville.
I think, and I think we've been pretty let down, to be honest, by a lot of the politicians. They're not up to scratch, are they?
They're not exactly the creme de la creme, are they?
No. They are probably in other areas, but not this.
not that right now. Definitely. Okay.
More like sour cream to me, I think, some of them. Blimey.
Yes, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
you're looking ever so well and healthy, Neville, so that's great.
Great.
Yeah, well, at least I know I don't have COVID-19 anyway.
That's important. Okay. I think we leave it by there today. It was fantastic talking to you again, Neville, and I hope we can do this again.
And you too, Tom and Adrian. You take care.
Splendid, Neville. Thank you, sir.
And best wishes to all your viewers, wherever they are and whenever they see this.
Great. We will let them know. So from us here from Corfu, we send you big hugs to Guatemala.
And you too. All the very best.
Okay.
Good one, Neville. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Oh, he's a jolly chappy, Thomas, isn't he? Eh? What good vibes we got there from Guatemala.
Definitely. Let me get back in
You're back in
position.
the hot
So
let's get back into position.
It's great.
Well, isn't it wonderful having these international calls from exotic places like Guatemala and Los Angeles the other week as well? I mean, you know, this is great. And Belgium. There we go.
And
Exotic
Belgium, definitely.
Yeah, why not?
Why we were on their call. So thank you, Neville, for calling in and explaining us. He made some good points, and we got some reactions back. It was Carlos Rizzo is saying, you know, why we spoke about doing online business now, more meetings online. And he said, when you are trying to close a sales deal, there is no substitute for shaking hands and getting competitive knowledge. So yes, no, I mean, you know, doesn't mean it need to do the whole. It's not exactly. It's out of the window anyway, so we can shake elbows instead. But on the other side, no, I don't think. You know, I'm not entirely agreeing with that, because in the first step, in the initial things, you can get, in my opinion, now, no, it's perfect. You don't need to meet. You can chat through video things, so you can get there already a little bit the feeling for the customer. It doesn't have to be always personal contact, and especially in this side. But in the end of the day, if you're a good salesman, it doesn't matter if you shake hands or not. You're gonna make your sale as simple as that. So I think, you know, if you ask me in sales point of view, I think that's just an excuse. So that's it.
In some ways, I take the viewer's point of view that when you're closing in on a really multi-million or billion-pound deal, maybe you do need to look them in the eyes. But let's be honest here, most business meetings are not exactly that significant, clinching a huge deal. And I'm sure that an awful lot of business meetings that have been going on year in, year out across Europe, for instance, could be done in alternative means using much more of Zoom. And I do believe there's another platform due to be launched soon to compete with Zoom. And of course, as we found here, there's always Skype, don't forget, and there's also FaceTime as well. And I don't know how secure other platforms are, but there's also Instagram and
LinkedIn. There's so many
Exactly,
different
LinkedIn,
things.
yes.
And when I look, and we're doing a lot of business, and in the past when I looked in, I used that already at IBM, video conferencing, and we were talking millions deals there in the end for human resources, especially for development softwares and that. No, and we done most of that via video conferencing already back 2001, 2002.
Really?
I'm talking, and these were cross country. Okay, in the end we were flying then over and until in person to close it down.
Right. But all the preliminary
work we done online, and that's what the video conferencing, and that just cutting that process down a little bit with your movement would the flow of your whole workflow gonna change and make it probably easier or more dealable as it is now, because when you move out there constantly, I know that from one meeting to another we move a lot. No, when we have one thing, when we can. So, but start cutting that now, because other people getting used to the technology is brilliant. People are forced to use that to communicate, and when we just carry on to a certain degree with it, we already contributing positively to our beautiful planet Earth.
Oh, I couldn't agree more with you. Absolutely, we are. And we've all seen the pollution levels drop substantially during these lockdown periods. One sector that wouldn't be happy about falling business travel, of course, is the airline industry, because quite frankly, they've been relying on business travel to prop up their profits. So I think, the airline picture of the industry as a whole is going to look very different post-coronavirus pandemic, quite frankly. And as we were saying, maybe that's a good thing for the planet.
Yes, maybe, you never know. It's gonna be a good thing for the planet. Definitely brings me on. Tomorrow we have another phone call in, and this is Xenia is calling us.
She's
and
Miss Planet, isn't she?
Miss
really?
Planet is great. She's an activist. It's great.
Yes.
Looks after Mother Earth and is so involved in so many different projects. And she wanna highlight tomorrow two things. So one of the things is what's going on under lockdown now. Parliament, everything is locked, no, but they're making still decisions while that's all going on, and we're not very well informed. And one of the things we talk tomorrow with Xenia about that. So I'm getting a lot of things in. Steve Powers is sending in and saying above is what has been said this afternoon, and that's a lot what have been said. We're gonna look through and we're gonna let people know. Lavinia is coming in and saying what the antiseptic foot tray. A kind of something operating theater protocols, and that's right. That's brilliant.
Okay, yes.
So, and she said, "I love Neville. What a thoughtful man. Really enjoy listening to him." I thought so. Huh?
Yeah,
and Bold you says, "Thank you, Dr. Neville. Very interesting." So it's great. Wonderful. So it's appreciated. We said a little country. Maybe we just spoke live with Guatemala.
I know, it's so exciting, isn't he? And he really is a true English gentleman there. If you want the definition, it's Dr. Neville Stiles.
MBE.
Oh, MBE and PhD.
Yes, and Margaret Johnson said, interesting call. No, it is definitely interesting to hear from other countries too, really, how well Greece is doing. And when I just look what Steve Bauer sent over, I mean, just let me go in here. So, 4th of May, first thing to be lifted is the obligation of holding movement permits via SMS or handwritten papers. So 4th of May, he said that's gone. Allowing in exercise outdoors and at the sea, swimming. Organized beaches will open at a later point. Opening of small shops, hairdressers, barber shops, and beauty parlors, bookstores, sport stores, garden shops, optic shops, churches, but only for individual prayers.
Right.
Yeah. Traffic restrictions from one prefecture to another will remain in force.
Okay.
So that still stays. So force, we're allowed to move.
In our local
on the island.
On the island, across
must be, meaning on the island. Yeah. So, but that's what I see. We're gonna look into that. Thank you, Steve. That's brilliant, and we're gonna go through that definitely.
Absolutely. It sounds rather similar to what I've been reading about Italy. They've announced a raft of measures that seem very similar to those.
I'm just looking at getting another message. I'm missing a couple of messages. I don't know where they are. Sorry about that.
They just disappear,
I know.
They might come back later on.
It's great because so many of you are joining, so many of you watching us here and taking part in the whole show. That's great. Thank you so much for doing that. If you have something to say, don't hesitate. Comment here now live or send us an email to inbox@StudioKerkyra.com. If you want to talk with us live here on the show, then contact us via Skype or send us a message after the show, and we organize a live call-in for you, audio or video together, however you want. But it's great that so many take part, and it's quite, for Neville now, it opens your eyes up. We're quite in a good position.
Yes. He seems
I'm
to
just stuck now in my head. It's great.
Guatemala seems to have held their own throughout this unpredictable crisis, better than many other countries, perhaps. He did also, Thomas, make a very good point there about poorer countries in Africa and Asia, and possibly Latin America too. They will be severely affected to the negative should the pandemic really hit them. And that's one of the reasons why I was telling you the other day about Jack Ma, the Chinese billionaire industrialist, who is personally taking it upon himself to fly lots of rescue missions to Africa with essential PPE.
Yeah. Here, getting in there, Carlo Rizzo is asking, why has Greece been so successful in keeping the corona deaths so low? I mean, it's great news. Chris Taban is saying, great news, Greece are handling this so well. No, it is. Why? Sorry, Carlo, why is it? It's because they responded so quickly. We were stunned with it. We heard about it, and I think we heard about the whole thing really when it started. So what?
Well, Greece.
11, 12 of March?
Yes, but before
that, we followed it. Nobody knew it was going to go that bad.
But the Greek government, you see, we keep mentioning this to remind everybody, they were one of the first governments, certainly in Europe, to ban public gatherings. They stopped all carnivals. Now, if you know anything about Greece and Corfu, spring is all about carnival. They love their carnivals.
It's a big do going on. So there's the Venetian carnival here. So there's a few processions going on, not just one.
No, it's a whole it's carnival period. Yeah. But on the 27th of February, the Greek Prime Minister cancelled all carnivals, and at the same time, he cut back on all open public gatherings. He was definitely ahead of the curve compared to many of his colleagues in other European countries. We keep mentioning in the United Kingdom, they let that football match go ahead at Anfield in March, and the Cheltenham Festival as well.
And see
I
what's
honestly
happened there,
don't think that would have happened had that been in Greece. So what we're saying, to answer our viewer's question there, Carl, I think it was, Carl, it was because the Greek government decided to get in early on the act of stopping public gatherings, even though they didn't actually know where the course of the pandemic was going to go, but they got in with that one essential imposition, which has probably saved a lot of lives, quite frankly.
Yeah, totally. They were quick, and that was down totally to the government here.
It was indeed.
Well, we heard that. Well, we started lockdown, our show on the 15th of
and lockdown
March.
became effective on the very 12 o'clock morning on the Monday, the 16th.
The 16th.
Yes.
That's what, yeah.
And we were told that it was those lockdown measures were going to go on until April the 27th, which was yesterday. Hence, that's why we were kind of expecting to hear from our good Prime Minister here yesterday, but I do believe he's talking today, thanks to Vinny telling us that, so that's absolutely great.
So we got the transcript already here, and we're going to have a look at that after the show, and then we'll
talk about tomorrow.
Talking about tomorrow, definitely.
Sure, yeah.
But to keep the death toll so low as well, they responded quickly. They had everything ready. The hospitals were ready. Everything got prepared so early, and that's a key.
Yes.
When you do an operation like that, the quicker you have the machines, everything, the staff there, the quicker it's set up. So they're not setting up and rushing in to work. So you know what, that all happened in a great manner, and they were fantastic. So that's one of the big reasons here. We are successful and we are happy. No, it's just, that's why he's getting now with the face masks. Yeah. It's another thing. Now they start thinking, and when I just read through a little bit of these lockdown things, they make sense. So they're still restricting, but because they're all afraid of a second wave.
Absolutely, it's all these lockdown reductions are going to be in stages, incremental. I was looking at New Zealand today. They've had a level system. I think they were on level 5, went down to level 4. Today it's gone down to level 3. And in the big news in New Zealand today, by the way, good afternoon to everyone, or actually no, good morning, I should think, in New Zealand. Long way away, beautiful country, fantastic Prime Minister, in my personal opinion, Jacinda Ardern. Absolutely incredible, that lady, in such a position of office. But the people of New Zealand are very happy today, Thomas, because today is the first day in weeks that they can go out and get a takeaway Mackie D's. Ooh.
Wow.
So they're all looking forward to
all
their
smiling.
quarter pounder with cheese. They're very smiley people in New
You're
Zealand.
getting all nervous there. I can see that.
Yes. Thomas, can I just correct something, an error, an erroneous thing that I made
Give me
before?
one thing, I just leads on from what we said. Carlo, here, Lavinia is writing in and saying the Greek government acted rapidly, communicated with the citizens, and we have nearly all been very compliant. However, much we didn't wish to.
For sure,
it's great. That was the complete key.
Mm-hmm.
So quick and seamless, they implemented that without anything. They communicated with the people straight. We all knew, even us expats, we knew what's going on. So they even sort of the other nationalities living within this beautiful country, and this was excellent. We never had any lack of communication or anything. We knew, okay, maybe we had to wait for it, but in the end of the day, we got it, and we got the right things. So and not maybe.
Yeah, and Corfu is a very multicultural society, an island. They reckon there were, before all this pandemic happened, there were about 13,000 British expats living here, probably about 7,000 or more Germans, probably 4 or 5 Dutch, and there's quite a few other countries. Belgium features on that list quite highly. The island's population, to put that into perspective, is about, I believe, 137 to 138,000 people.
Mm.
Obviously, not during the busy summer months when they are busy, and this year will be different to all other years, I'm quite sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be different. I mean, here I got another one told you. Corfu and Greece may be ready soon, but the UK is far behind.
Exactly.
So, that's
what
the
we
whole point.
keep
Yeah.
saying. Well done, Paul, for reminding us. It's not just a country that you're coming to have your wonderful holiday on. It's the country that you're leaving, and maybe the countries that you have to travel through to get there. You know, nothing's set in stone at the moment, and it's a very fluid situation, as they say. One error that I committed earlier on, Thomas, was I said 50% Europe's tourism was worth 50%. I didn't mean that. What I meant to say was of the world tourism, Europe takes 50% of all world tourism. It's down by 70% already, and to the cost estimated, this is from the EU Commissioner's Office, I do believe, they reckon that the loss they're suffering at the moment in Europe is over 400 billion euros. It's nasty.
It's nasty, yeah, and it's gonna come, and this is so. That's why everybody, the minds are split. With everybody, it doesn't matter with who you talk. Yeah, some is very positive. The tourism gonna start now, and some say no, there is no way. I can't see that happening that year at all. I mean, opening up, preparing now everything for 2-3 months of tourism. When they could guarantee the numbers. Then it's a different story. But to say, okay, let's open up, let's see. Let's open up, let's be ready, but you don't know what's gonna happen. How can you calculate? So everybody's in the same boat, definitely, at the moment, and it's because you cannot calculate, you cannot predict that whole scenario.
No, absolutely. And following on from that, in today's Sun newspaper, thanks to Ian Fern who pointed this out to us, they're saying that according to a spokesman from Greece, the Sun was reporting that, quote, Greece will open up to holidaymakers by July. Britons will be included. I think that's a little bit of fervour that the Sun put in there. By July, well, I don't know about that. We can't possibly say that for sure.
I mean, here, Nikos is writing in airlines, say 2 weeks quarantine plan, no?
Yes, that's what we were talking about.
Will kill international travel. Plans to quarantine passengers coming to airports and ports are understood to have been blindsided aviation bosses. I have no idea from this thing, but yeah.
The 14-day quarantine, I don't know how that's going to sit if you've only got a week's holiday, for heaven's sake. You can't do it, can you? I just don't know. We don't know how this is going to work out, and I think it's very much work in progress, to be quite honest with you. And always they're looking over their shoulders for any signs of nasty second waves.
Yeah, but they put a law now in effect anyway. And when I just go over here, sorry guys, a little bit, and that's for the tourist workers here now. And when I look at that quickly, Adrian,
Yeah.
they had they demonstrated outside the OAED employment offices
Right, okay.
now morning, wearing masks and adhere to social distancing. So they done all, but all seasonal workers and those with flexible contracts to be re-employed by the dates outlined in law and according to collective contracts in each region. So this should be 15th of May in Chania in Crete, 20th of May in Heraklion, Crete, 25th of May in Rhodes, Retimno, Crete, Latisi, and Corfu. 10th of June in the other regions. So that's what I got over
That's
here.
important. What was that date? Sorry, on Corfu again? It was the
25th. If I'm 25th, yes, 25th of May.
May.
Yeah.
Great.
25th of May. So that's
We
what
better
it
touch
says.
wood quickly and fingers crossed and all the rest of it. You know.
So now that's what I thought.
That's good. It sounds good on paper.
Now it sounds definitely good on
Absolutely.
paper, but at the same time, if this doesn't happen, they also promised to pay 800 euros to the workers,
They have. Yes.
plus all their social,
the ICA costs.
the ICA costs and everything on
yes.
top. So that
National
carries
insurance,
on
I
the
think.
national insurance.
Yes,
That
yes.
carries on for them. So the state pays them. So they try to secure that, and that's exactly what Neville said. Neville said in Guatemala they don't have that at all.
They're no money. They're a very poor country, and what they had instead was a box of essential items, groceries. But as he made the good point that when that runs out, what have they got left with? An empty box. At least the Greek government are doing the best and what they can. That's for sure. We can say that, as are many other countries, certainly the United Kingdom and certainly in the United States. They all had $1,200, I do believe. And if they didn't have a bank account, you had a personally signed check from Donald J. Trump, I do believe.
Yeah.
Apparently so.
But I have no idea.
We didn't get one of them. That was if you didn't have a bank account. Otherwise, it was paid in by direct credit. 80 million people had theirs paid by direct credit, but the others had a personal check. First time, by the way, in the history of the United States of America that has ever happened.
Yeah, and I'm getting a lot of messages still in, and when I go through here, fingers crossed, somebody said, no, the Sun is not a newspaper, it's a comic. Christopher Taberner is saying, no.
Personally agree with that one, actually, yes.
It's all, no, Patricia Webster, not everyone is in the same boat. Bezos made $25 billion in the last 4 months, and I'm pretty sure Bill Gates isn't hurting for cash either.
No,
so I mean, when you look
at he's increased his wealth with the share price of Microsoft, although at the moment it's probably gone down a bit. There are many billionaires out of this COVID-19. One was Eric Yuan, who increased his fortune 100% up to 7 billion. He's the guy that started Zoom, and before that he created WebEx before he sold out to Cisco Systems. WebEx is a similar system to Skype, so they've done very well. I do believe Jeff Bezos increased his personal fortune by $25 billion, 19 billion pounds, and that was down to Amazon doing rather well. I can't speak for the others, but I'm sure there's always a winner where there's loads of losers. That's the way it goes. Yeah. Do you remember the banking crisis of 2008, for instance? Most people lost big time, but not some of the big bankers who came out incredibly wealthy. And here's something that sticks in my head. Well, I think to share it, Thomas. You know,
crazy,
on the precipice of the world's banking crisis, which, okay, compared to COVID-19, seems like a much lesser event, although at the time it was a big do, as everybody can well remember. But just remember this, folks, in that week at the beginning of the financial crisis, when it completely went melted down, as it were, there was an influx of funds totaling £250 billion that went into Guernsey, would you believe?
250 billion.
And the question I've got in my head is, what happened to it? Is it still there? I bet it's not.
Yeah, no, and that's
and
it.
Was it taxed? I bet it wasn't either. Yeah,
you know that
how can the world's in a total financial meltdown, but all of a sudden £250 billion turns up in banks in Guernsey? Incredible. But there you go. I don't know.
Yeah, and then that's it. That's the thing, you know. But when you look how many they're gonna look after that, you know, hopefully soon gone when we find the vaccine and when we can go back nearly to normal. When they start looking into that, it's all gonna come out. Definitely. I have no.
Yes, there's going to be lots of inquiries
definitely
in
inquiries
lots of
here,
countries.
inquiries there, and that,
yes.
and it's starting in certain countries. It started already.
Yeah.
So, but it's gonna happen, and they're gonna see who made themselves rich with it. And the best thing is about how quick did some leaders respond. People gonna judge that. I think Neville is right.
I think
you
you're
saw
right
the
too.
faces of so many things now. You see the truth now. How is your country prepared? What they told you before that, and what they told you after, as when it happened, if there's a difference. And some of the countries failed in that point totally.
I think a lot of failures. New Zealand and Australia, I didn't think have done quite well, although we should make the point again that for some strange reason, unbeknown to us here, the Southern Hemisphere has fared a lot better in terms of infected cases and, fortunately, fatalities than the Northern Hemisphere. At the moment, I can't quite give you a quick answer as to why that is. Also, people from ethnic minorities seem to be high up on the list of infected patients for some reason, again, unbeknown. That might be something to do with T cells and their DNA makeup. I don't know.
So but you know what? As I see now, it's again an hour is over. We're nearly out of time. I got pictures left, definitely,
yes,
and you got the story
you're not
left.
going anywhere until
what have you got?
I just want to make Nico and Annabelle, our two fantastic viewers and followers and contributors in North London, I want to put a smile on their face because I think they ribbed us yesterday for not going deep down and dirty with Donald Trump. Well, not that I want to go deep down and dirty with him. No, I don't want to do that at all. It's just the way I said it. But anyway, no, I just want to share with you some information that I got from a TV channel on YouTube. I won't say what it is. It's a small one. You probably never heard of it. And it was one of their viewers called Joe, who's obviously got a hell of a lot of time on his hands. He's been measuring the amount of time the president has been speaking in the United States during those daily White House briefings. You know the ones I mean. Apparently, there's been 35 of them since some date in March, which I will get here at the moment when I can find it. He's spoken 60% of all the time that the officials have spoken. And he's spoken for a staggering 28 hours in all of the 35 White House daily briefings since the 16th of March, 13 hours of which have been in the last 3 weeks, would you believe? Here's the important stuff. 2 hours were spent on attacking people, 45 minutes praising himself, but only 4.5 minutes acknowledging and recognizing the victims of COVID-19. There we are. Thanks, Joe, for being so passionate, whoever Joe may be, for going through and giving us a running count of Donald Trump's reactions at his past daily White House briefings, because we do believe that they're not actually going to carry on at the moment.
I think he stopped that completely now. I think he's gonna
suffering.
Yeah, he's gonna soaking in one of the rooms in the White House.
Soaking in Lysol or disinfectant, maybe.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, I don't mean to offend our viewers who do support Donald Trump. You are very entitled to your political opinion, and I don't wish to offend anybody, obviously. But I go back to the disinfectant comments. No, maybe he was sarcastic. Maybe he was this, that, and the other. The point is, though, he shouldn't have been mentioning them at all, not in connection with COVID-19. You just don't.
No, you don't. So there were mistakes made, definitely. We can't deny that one. But you know what, guys, thank you so much for commenting in. I got a lot of messages in. I know I missed a couple of messages. We're going to go into that one tomorrow because I want to read this article and then I want to really discuss it. And this is regarding the doctors and nurses are not getting paid overtime now increase. That's got somehow said too. And there's a little bit thing going on. But I think we're going to discuss that through tomorrow. See, this is the things what's going on in the background. This is fits perfectly with Xenia tomorrow. So we got a nice show and a great show, but I still got some pictures just to cheer you up before we leave.
The point about Xenia, who's an avid viewer and follower, and is a fantastic lady, particularly for recycling here on the island. She's also Dutch as well, half Dutch possibly, and studied definitely in the Netherlands. So not only can she bring a Greek perspective, but she can also hopefully bring a Dutch perspective too.
Definitely. And here is, as promised, our today's picture. So
he's got a
in
bad
case
hairdo,
anybody asks, you know.
Oh, blimey. We believe that's a cassowary with a very pronounced hairdo. Looks rather jolly though, doesn't he?
Oh, it's great. It's
slightly
brilliant,
startled,
you know?
mind you. Maybe he's been drinking the disinfectant. I'd hope not. Good teeth, mind you.
Good teeth, not bad.
Better
is
teeth
it?
than I've got, that's for sure.
But I'm doing fine, don't worry. So, but the other one is how it's gonna maybe look like when our kids return to school. So that's the first day back at school after lockdown. So we hope it's not taking that long.
No, the gentleman in the front left there looks a very familiar scene, doesn't it? A
So,
disinterested student.
So
Great picture,
that's the-
guys. Thank you. very
brilliant. No,
Yeah.
thank you for sending that in. No, and it brings a smile to my face. You know, I love
Absolutely.
that. That's those things
Yeah.
what just cheers a little bit up. Hey guys, thank you so much. There's so much coming in, and you guys, this is more and more coming in. Enjoy your evening, guys. And Claire Bolt you says it's a lot. Guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. If I missed anything today on messages, I apologize, and I will go through them and I put them in tomorrow, plus the one I said already. But if you want to comment more, carry on writing to us, message to StudioKerkyra on Facebook, or send us an email to inbox@studiokerkyra.com. And if you would love to talk with us live here on the show, you can always send us a quick message and we hook up on Skype. I also try to make another system available. But it's another day over, it's another show done, episode 41 out of the way. It's crazy.
Great,
I know it's going
41,
great.
brilliant. Long may
And
they continue.
Let's see. You know,
reasons
maybe
of
we're
COVID-19.
taking bets on how many episodes they're gonna be in the end. You never know. But from here on the lovely island, beautiful island of Corfu, until tomorrow, have a fantastic evening and good night. Kalinichta.
Absolutely. And as always, thank you very much for your time and enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe and a very good afternoon to you all.